Hi, my name's Alyssa. Welcome to my channel. Recently, I've had a number of people inquire about what I eat in a day, like the amounts and calories and how much fat. They want to know how much salt I'm eating in a day. So that's what I intend to do in this video. I'm going to show you everything I am consuming in a week. It's actually Friday and I am just finishing up an amazing leg day. So I'm about to leave the gym, go home and break my fast, and I'll be showing you what I'm eating from there on out for a whole week. First though, I did want to give some background about me and my stats, because what I eat in a day is exclusive to me, and it's completely individualized based on me. So please don't watch this and say, well, she's eating this much meat and this much fat and this much salt, that's what I should do too. You need to find out what works for you. I'm just doing this video for curiosity's sake. So I am 28 years old. I'm 5'3" and 3/4. I always tell people I'm 5'4". Pretty much I'm 5'4". And I weigh 155 pounds. I work out lifting weights 5 days a week, and each of those workouts is about an hour to an hour and a half. I walk at a leisure pace, sometimes a little power walking for about 30 minutes a day. And I have a history of hypertension. I don't have hypertension anymore. And I drink about a gallon of water a day. So Friday's post-workout meal consists of about 14 ounces of brisket and 2 scrambled eggs with butter. And then I've got some salt here. I like to salt my food after it's cooked, because some days I want more salt, some days I want less salt. This is really weird, like measuring my food. I don't ever measure my food or weigh it out or anything. I just eat what I want and how much I want for the most part. So it's kind of weird, but I'm doing it for you guys. And at the end of each day, I'll show you, like, I'm gonna be putting all my food into chronometer and showing you what the totals are for each day. I didn't end up salting this meal because after tasting the brisket and the eggs, they were fine as they were. Okay, so here me and Storm are on our daily hot mama walk. Come on, Storm. Oh, you're pooping. Sorry. And I just want to take a minute to talk a little bit about salt intake on carnivore. So a lot of carnivores and a lot of carnivore influencers, they talk a lot about salt, the importance of salt, the importance of electrolytes while on this way of eating, because your kidneys may not be holding on to as much salt as they would be if you were eating more carbs. And a lot of people advocate for salt on everything. Lots of salt on your meat, salt in your water, just salt on your tongue, just cause. And they need that. There's also some carnivores that don't salt at all, like Bella, the steak and butter girl. She doesn't use any salt. I'm somewhere in the middle. I will go periods of time that I really do not want any salt. It tastes gross, it's too much, and I'll leave it alone. And then I'll go through periods of time that I need a lot of salt. Or I mean, it's probably not a lot of salt to somebody else, but it's a lot of salt for me. Like I'll be salting all of my meals heavily, or I can eat like a whole pack of bacon and want a little bit more salt. So it seems like I would say I'm a sometimes salter. It seems like I'll have salt for a little while and like my body will store it up, and then I'm like good for a while, like a couple of weeks, like I don't want any salt. So I do, what I'll typically do is just listen to my body. I know to some people that's like, what do you mean? Listen to your body doesn't even talk. But what I mean by that is I will most of the time not salt my food before cooking, unless I'm making one of those amazing Dr. Chafee dry brine steaks. But most of the time I don't salt my food before cooking, and then after it's cooked I'll sit down at the table and I keep like a big bowl or a little big bowl of salt in the middle of the table, and I'll taste my food. If it tastes bland, I'll add some salt. If it doesn't have any salt on it but it tastes seasoned to me, then that's a sign that I just don't need salt that day. And so I will mention also that I said that I used to have hypertension, and it's a common misconception that salt causes hypertension. That's just not true. I believe now that it's carbs, like 85% of the time, that's causing unexplained hypertension. That being said, there is such thing as salt sensitive hypertension. This is not very common, but it is a thing. So if there's anybody out there that's salt sensitive, you can kind of explore this. I would say like on a zero carb diet, if you still have high blood pressure, you might want to mess around with varying your salt intake and see if that makes a difference for you at all. As far as I go, there may or may not be a degree of salt sensitivity. That may or may not be a factor that influenced me having high blood pressure. I don't know, because I just salt to taste. And like I said, sometimes I want a lot of salt and sometimes I don't. I have tested to see, like on a higher salt day when I have a bunch of salt, if my blood pressure goes up. And on those days when I want salt, my blood pressure is still the same, still in the normal range, even though I'm having a lot of salt. But definitely there's days that I don't want a lot of salt or any salt at all. So it's possible that I would be salt sensitive, like if I was just having salt all the time and not listening to my body. But it seems like my taste buds are regulating things appropriately. That's it. That's my little piece on salt. And me and Storm are gonna finish our hot mama walk. And I'll see you guys at dinner time. Okay, so for dinner, I'm having about 9.5 ounces of that bottom round steak with 5 strips of bacon and about 2 tablespoons of butter. The total for the day is 2,466 calories, 200 grams of protein, 180 grams of fat, and 1 gram of carbohydrate. Saturday morning, I'm having 3 eggs with 3 strips of bacon scrambled into them and about 9 ounces of this cube steak. And after the initial taste test, I decided I needed a little bit of salt. So I've got my Redmonds, and I'm just gonna give it a little sprinkle on top. After the cube steak and scrambled eggs, I wasn't feeling 100% satisfied. I felt like I need more fat. So I'm having some pork rinds with butter smeared all over them. And that night for dinner, I'm having 10 ounces of New York strip and about 36 grams of pork belly with a big dollop of butter on top. All right, so I finished my New York strip and my pork belly, but I'm still hungry. So I'm gonna grill up these, and I'll probably just eat one of them. It's round steak, $5.44 a pound, very economical, and then I'll definitely add some butter to it. Dinner number 2 ended up being 7 ounces of that round steak, 2 tablespoons of butter, and 2 ounces of pork belly. Saturday's totals are 2,723 calories, 242 grams of protein, 192 grams of fat, and 3 grams of carbohydrates. So since we finished dinner so late last night, I think by the time I was done with dinner, it was like 8 o'clock, and usually I eat dinner like around 6:30 at the latest. I just really wasn't hungry today until like a little while ago. So it's about 2 p.m. and I'm getting ready to have my first meal. Actually grilling it up right now. So I'm gonna eat that. I'm starting off Sunday with 7 ounces of round steak and about 1.5 ounces of pork belly with some butter. Again, I wanted more fat after this meal, so I'm having more of those pork rinds with butter. And that night for dinner, I'm having a 13-ounce ribeye with about 2 tablespoons of butter. Totals for Sunday ended up being 2,278 calories, 161 grams of protein, and 183 grams of fat. Monday post-workout, I'm having 15 ounces of this brisket I prepared the day before in my smoker. And then for my second meal, I'm having a pound of this fatty beef mince with heart added, about 2 ounces of pork belly, and 2 eggs. And I'm having my dinner in the living room because I really wanted to finish this amazing interview that's on high intensity health. I would highly recommend it. Monday's totals were 3,003 calories, 237 grams protein, 221 grams of fat, and 1 gram of carbohydrate. Tuesday post-workout, I'm having 12 ounces of brisket with salt on top. All right, so I have eaten all of the brisket that I care to eat. I pretty much ate like all of the lean, all of the meat from the brisket, and some of the fat, but a lot of the fat got left behind. Because since I had such a fatty dinner last night and fatty breakfast yesterday, I'm really not filling all that into fat today. It's not tasting that great. So a lot of it got left behind. Originally this weighed up like over a pound, but as you can see, there's a lot left. So when I track this in, Huey, please. When I track this in chronometer, I'm not gonna put a whole pound of brisket because that's not what I ate. And I'll actually go ahead and weigh what I have left over. But it's still tricky. I feel like I'm not gonna be getting like an accurate count on what I'm eating. And this is why I feel like calorie counting is really dumb, because you can never really say exactly what you're intaking unless you're eating like packaged foods. I feel like calorie counting is really complicated when it comes to like whole foods, especially meats, some meats. Dinner time, I'm having salmon, pork belly, and then my husband ended up trading me some of his chuck eye steak for one of my salmon, so I'm having chuck eye steak also. Tuesday's totals were 1,977 calories, 138 grams of protein, and 156 grams of fat. Today after the gym, I'm just having 12 ounces of that leftover brisket. So I usually wait after my first meal. It'll be like at least, I don't know, 6 hours before I eat the last meal of the day, because I'm usually eating 2 meals. But today I had a leg day that really kicked my butt, so I'm feeling like extra hungry. So it's about 2 o'clock now and I'm having my second meal now, and I'll probably end up eating again later this evening. Wednesday's totals are 2,615 calories, 206 grams of protein, 193 grams of fat, and 1 gram of carbohydrates. Thursday morning, I'm having 14 ounces of leftover brisket. And dinner time, I'm having 11 ounces of cube steak and 2 ounces of pork belly. Why? You don't like pizza anymore? I do like pizza. Alright, so it's Thursday night, and that means this is my last night of tracking, my last meal of tracking everything I'm eating. I'm so sick and tired of weighing my food. And I'm ready to get back to the simple carnivore I love so much. I'm having my pork belly and my cube steak. Very tasty. It's so good. I am gonna add a little salt, cube steak.
Mama, I love you.
Baby, I love you too. Beef. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Say don't forget to like and subscribe.
Don't forget to do the best inside. Don't forget to like in a slide.
Yes, good job, Huey.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.
Bye 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 bye.